How's it going, everyone? I am back with another video. This is going to be my divisional round recap video where I'm going to go through the four divisional round games that took place this past weekend, break down my thoughts, takeaways, talk about how the games went, all that good stuff. So I will dive straight in here. So the first game was the game that ruined my perfect playoff bracket. I am So it's six wild card games. So I'm 9 for 10 with my picks in the playoffs so far. This is the only game I got wrong. I had Buffalo. I was honestly fairly confident they were going to win. They probably should have. The turnovers are 100% the reason they lost this game. Denver's defense could not stop Buffalo unless they were getting the turnovers. Give Denver credit for the turnovers. The one right before the end of the half was just Josh Allen being sloppy with the ball, and Denver got a field goal out of it, and Denver won by 3. So that was a killer of a turnover in terms of the result of the game. And besides that, I mean, James Cook was running loose, a bunch of big plays from him. The passing game could not be stopped. Denver's defense really could not get stopped besides the takeaways. Buffalo had like a ridiculous amount of yardage in this game, like 450 yards or something. Let me double check. They had a lot of yardage though. Let's see. Um, yeah, they had 449 yards, exactly 100 more than the Broncos did. They literally outplayed Denver in almost every category, with at least the major ones, with the exception of turnovers. They lost the turnover battle 5-1 or 5-1, and they nearly won the game still. So turnovers just absolutely killed Buffalo in this game, and just uncharacteristic ones too. So the first half, the Broncos went right down the field in their opening drive, and they should have had a touchdown. They dropped it. They got a field goal. Buffalo went down the field, scored. So they're up 7-3. Denver then took a 10-7 lead, and then trying to remember exactly what happened. Buffalo. I'm trying to remember exactly what happened. I think Buffalo only got a field goal after that, and Denver ended up scoring 10 more points. I believe they were up 20-10 in at half. Let me double check here. Let's see. Yeah, it was 20-10 at the half because Denver scored 17 in the second quarter. And again, they got three free ones, three free points pretty much from that Josh Allen turnover at the end of the half I mentioned. The second half, they immediately turned it over again, Buffalo, but Denver only got a field goal, so they were only up 13. And Buffalo ended up scoring was it 14 unanswered? So they had a 1 point lead, and they got an interception off Nix. It was just a ridiculous play by the line there. I forget who picked it off, but ridiculous play by them. Wasn't really on Nix. Bo Nix played a really good game in this one. Obviously, sucks what happened to him with his ankle. Jarrett Stidham's going to be starting the AFC Championship game, which my team's going to lose the narrative either way. The narrative bounce, either if we win, it'll be, well, you should have won. It's against Jarrett Stidham, easy cakewalk to the Super Bowl. Or if we lose, we're going to get clowned for losing to Stidham when it was gift wrapped to us, is what the narrative will be. But anyway, getting off topic here. Bo Nix played really good. Definitely, I would say the best performance out of the four starting quarterbacks of the divisional round. Or, well, not four starting quarterbacks. There's 4 games, so 8 starting quarterbacks. I'm trying to think. Definitely outplayed Allen. Maybe you can argue Darnold, but I would say Nix did more. Darnold didn't really do too much, although he played well. So yeah, I would honestly say Bo Nix played the best game out of any quarterback in the division round. So credit to him for that clutch drive at the end there. So anyway, Buffalo is up 1. Fast forward late in the game, they put together a good drive. They get really conservative in the end zone area, the red zone area. They did a wide receiver screen, was incomplete. They settled for a field goal. They're up 3. Or no, they're up 4. Yeah, they're up 4. And Bo Nix had a clutch drive, basically a do or die drive for Denver. Season pretty much on the line. Leads a touchdown drive. Buffalo down 3. They move the ball again, do or die drive for them. And Josh Allen, he had 2 chances to basically win the game. Cooks, he was this close to hitting. Cooks kind of stopped during his route, it was a bit short. And then he almost hit, can't remember if it was Knox or Kincaid. I think it was Knox. One of the 2 tight ends. Might have been Kincaid. Not 100% sure. One of the 2 tight ends was open. Was probably going to run in for a touchdown. If not, they could have burned a timeout. They would have hit a shot or two at the end zone. But they ended up getting a field goal. Prater hit a pretty long field goal. I forget how long it was, but credit to Prater. He's had a hamstring injury. He's 41, so credit to him. Overtime, Denver gets the ball. They have to punt to Buffalo. Buffalo ends up getting a couple first downs. There could have been a holding called on Buffalo, the line in the end zone that would have resulted in a safety that would have won Denver the game. Wasn't called. Fast forward to third down. They converted a couple third downs prior. Cooks, it looks like he caught it, but it got ripped out of his hands by McMillan. They called it a pick. Most easily the most controversial play of the weekend. Everyone's saying it's rigged for Denver. The refs bailed them out. And it's just consistency is what kills me with that, because similar play with Devontae Adams in the Rams Bears game, and they rule it differently. Just consistency is what's annoying. Buffalo's owner was saying it was a bad call. Cooks today said it was a catch, so controversial there. I thought it was a catch at first, but I don't know. Who the hell knows anymore? But anyway, then Denver got a flag. The PI, honestly, was kind of questionable to me, especially with how they were letting them play. But there was a roughing the passer, so clear as day. So that would have negated that. And then there's another flag late that set Denver up the goal line on Tre'Davious White. And then Denver kicked the game-winning field goal, and they win. So back and forth thriller, a lot of high-pressure moments, do-or-die moments. Both teams were clutch throughout the game. Really good game here. Basically a shootout. There was also a good stretch of defense in this game. And again, Buffalo lost because of turnovers. A lot of people blaming Josh Allen because he had 4 of them. He had an interception right after Bo Nix threw an interception. So had the turnover I mentioned at the end of the first half. Had the turnover at the start of the third quarter. And James Cook had a fumble too. So Josh Allen had another turnover. I'm blanking exactly when it was. But anyway, yeah, turnovers lost Buffalo the game. They still nearly won, losing the turnover battle by 4. Give Denver credit for forcing the turnovers, except they kind of got a bit fortunate with the one at the end of the half. Bills fired Sean McDermott. I thought they needed to do that for a while, but I didn't think they were going to. Just can't get over the hump with them is the issue. And again, this is supposed to be their year. No Mahomes, no Lamar, no Joe Burrow, and their second round exits. So, and not that, it's very impressive that they beat Jacksonville. There would have been no shame in losing to them. But if they had lost to them, they would have been first round exits with the quarterbacks not even in the playoffs that I just ran through. So now there's some stuff coming out that, McDermott was questioning the roster, saying how it can't win a Super Bowl because of this and that. And the ownership didn't like it. Now there's the whole thing, the disconnect with Keon Coleman and Brandon Beane, their GM. It's just a mess right now, it seems like, at the moment. But give Denver credit. Moving on to the AFC Championship. Again, it sucks that Bo Nix can't play. What happened to his ankle? He looked fine in the post game, came out of nowhere, and then there was, alternate angles of him kind of limping, sideline shots of him basically knowing that season's over. So sucks for him. That's gut wrenching. Former Patriot Jarrett Stidham going against my team, the AFC Championship. Who the hell would have thought that? Give Denver credit, gutting out this win. I think even though they were favored, I feel like most people picked Buffalo. So give Denver credit. Bills, really tough way to end the year. Should have had this one. Excuse me here. Oh boy. 49ers Seahawks. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to spend too much time on this game because the score is pretty evident of how the game went. Seattle, literally on the opening kickoff, set the tone for the game. Shaheed returned it, touchdown immediately. Seattle's getting turnovers. They're up 17-0 in the blink of an eye. The 49ers just can't get out of their own way. Seattle just was steamrolling them. There was a stretch in this game after the 17-0 lead Seattle got that San Francisco kind of settled in a bit. They were chipping away. They got 2 field goals, so it was 17-6. But then when Seattle went up 24-6 at the half, with their defense the way it's been playing and how it was playing this game, you just kind of felt the game was almost over. And then the second half, they were just pounding the 49ers. Pause. They just killed them in both halves, the whole game. They were obviously they took their foot off the gas pedal in the fourth quarter, but yeah, up 41-6 up 41-6. They kind of chewed the clock out. Mac Jones came in garbage time. 49ers just very little offense. Obviously, it's a score exhibit. Besides that little stretch where they kind of settled in a bit, made it a bit of an interesting game. And then when they went down 18, just all downhill pretty much most of the game. The players talked. A player, I forget who it was, talked about how they were playing with house money after the Eagles games. No one expected them to be there with all the injuries. Give credit to them with all the injuries they have. They made it to this point. I thought it would be more competitive than it was. I thought Seattle's offense would kind of have like a subpar game, but they would get it done in the end. I think I said Seattle 23-20. I thought San Francisco would get a decent amount of offense. Obviously, that did not happen. Just a disaster. There was a stat that Purdy ran. It was a ridiculous amount. It was like a couple hundred yards of in scrambling just to avoid the pass rush. It was like the most, I think, since Mahomes in the Tampa Super Bowl 55. So that's insane. But there's something else in this game. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, the 49ers, I will say, when they lose, some of their players seem to be like very sore losers. Not all of them, but they seem to be very sore losers. They were saying, oh, well, we would have won. It would have been a different game without the injuries. There's just always something when they lose, it seems like. But give credit to them for making to this point. Obviously, this game was a disaster. Give Seattle credit for just blowing the doors off them. Just unreal. I picked a Seattle Rams NFC Championship matchup. Obviously, that's the matchup we're getting. And I picked the Rams. This game is making me doubt that because Seattle looked much better than I thought. Darnold, his oblique injury is kind of questionable, but he looked fine. He didn't need to do too much in this game with how the game was going. They were gashing them in the run game. The defense was all over them. So Darnold, it's similar to Stroud, I think, honestly. But the Seattle's defense is so good. As long as Darnold doesn't lose the game, they're in good shape. So give Seattle credit, just blew the doors off the 49ers. I picked them to win, did not expect that. Most people picked Seattle to win, but did not expect anything near this, like a blowout. Give Seattle credit. 49ers, that's a rough way to go out. Here we go. Texans, Patriots. So I actually just uploaded my Patriots takeaways video that I upload for every Patriots game every week. So I probably won't go into great detail in this game, but check that video out if you're interested. But my big takeaway is ugly win. A win is a win. I'll take it. Turnovers were the story of this game. We had 4 fumbles, but I think we only lost 2 of them. And we did have a pick, but it was on a Hail Mary attempt, so that, no time left in the half. So that really didn't matter, in the course of the game, I would say. Unfortunate that it got picked off. But yeah, very much a struggle offensively. Like I thought it would be. I figured 21 would be enough to win the game with how our defense is playing and how I expected Houston's offense to play against our defense. We had 21 in the first half. We only scored 7 in the second half, but it was a big touchdown because it was a 5-point game. And then Booty, when he caught that touchdown, when we went up 12, I felt really good about the rest of the game. I thought pass protection would be better. I thought May would protect the ball with the fumble issues he had against the Chargers last week a bit better. Did not happen. Houston's defense, like they have been most of the season, especially during their win streak, coming into this game, they were unreal. a lot of people saying Stroud single-handedly blew the game. If Stroud just played average, they probably would have won the game, obviously. Well, not obviously, honestly is what I meant to say. But give credit to our defense. They stepped up, forced Stroud into a bunch of mistakes, picked him off 4 times, got a pick six. That was a big pick six because Houston had the momentum. They scored 10 straight, and that pick six was big. So the offense was just struggling to do anything at that point. The touchdown drive that uh the yeah, it was the touchdown drive that May got to Diggs. That was a really good touchdown pass and catch by Diggs. I don't know how he didn't let the ball hit the ground there. That was ridiculous control by him. May heated up on that drive a bit. I was like, here we go. We're going to keep this rhythm for at least a couple more drives. Did not happen. Get a turnover, and then we nearly turn over immediately. Literally the next play later at the 50. Should have been a PI to give us a field goal opportunity, but ended up settling for the Hail Mary. And that was the interception I mentioned. Yeah, Stroud, the picks came at really rough times. Had 3 of them in the first half alone. They had a fumble from Woody Marks in the third quarter when they had a decent drive together. As bad as it went for Houston, it was a 5-point game, as I mentioned earlier, going into the fourth quarter. But that Booty touchdown catch, we weren't really getting pressure on Stroud early on, and it's kind of similar to the Chargers game with Herbert. And then as the game kind of progressed, really in the second quarter on, I would say we really started to get pressure, heat up Stroud a bit, and made him, make a bunch of mistakes. So, a lot of questions. Is Stroud the guy? Houston, that's kind of been a question for the past 2 seasons since he's dipped off significantly production-wise from his rookie year, but especially after this game. I didn't think Stroud was going to be as sloppy with the ball as he was against Pittsburgh. He was even worse in this game. So thankfully, but again, Dan Orlovsky, basically, he actually apologized, say the way he phrased it, but he said 31 other quarterbacks win the game for Houston here. Yes, I understand what he's saying, but you got to give our defense credit. It's not like Stroud just randomly is like, I'm just going to play bad today. It was our defense that forced him into those mistakes. Carlton Davis had 2 picks. That was big. One of the picks wasn't really on Stroud, just bounced off Hutchinson's hands. He should have thrown a couple picks early on in the game, though, so it kind of evened out, honestly. Houston, again, this team is going to be really scary next season if their defense, and I think it will be, can play at a similar level. Because, again, as I mentioned, as bad as it was, 5-point game entering the fourth quarter, and against an elite offense in the Patriots, MVP candidate and Drake May and company, and they really shut us down for a good portion of the game. And the only reason we put up 28 is, 21 offensively. We really only had 14 in the game prior to that Booty catch. The only reason we had that is because of the turnovers. The Pop Douglas catch at the beginning of the game, not on our first drive, but in the first quarter, early in the game, that nearly got batted down. That was a nice pass by May and nice catch and run by Pop Douglas. And again, the touchdown drive where we got some play action passes going, and Diggs caught the touchdown. That was a nice drive. Besides that, we really struggled most of this game. We got a couple key first downs just running the ball at the end to take time off the clock. Questionable decision to punt it there from D'Amico Ryans. There was 4 minutes left, and they had 1 timeout, and they're punting it down 12. It was 4th and 17, and we would have been set up right in the red zone area. But I think, we would have been right in the red zone area. But you got to go for it at that point. But whatever. Probably wouldn't have mattered anyway. But yeah, Houston, tough way for them to end their year. Very sloppy game on both sides offensively. Both defenses played great. Give Houston's defense credit. The offense was a mess. Give our defense credit. Give our offense credit for May was actually the only quarterback in the league to have 3 touchdown passes against that Houston defense this season. So as kind of shaky as it was and sloppy as it was, there's that at least. So I'll talk about how I think we match up against Denver's defense when I make my score predictions video, or if Dylan and I can find a time to record the podcast about the 2 games, the conference championship games. But give us credit for getting the win here. Ugly. We're moving on to the AFC Championship. Who would have thought that before the season? Then the last game, Rams-Bears. This was a very interesting game. Chicago's defense played the best game they have all year, I would argue, considering the circumstances they were under against this Rams offense. The Bears offense was, kind of like it has a good portion of the season, really not doing too much throughout a good portion of the game. They would have a couple good looking first downs and first play and good plays, things like that, but they couldn't really, translate it to scoring. Their first try, they went right down the field. They won for it on fourth down. I don't think they should have. I think they should have taken the points, but Ben Johnson knows the Bears defense on paper has not been great this year outside of getting turnovers. He knows what offense he's going up against. So I sort of understand, but I would have honestly taken the field goal. And it was windy, so maybe I get it. But it was 4th and 3, I think. It was 4th and 1, go for it. But 4th and 3, whatever. I would have kicked it, but who knows? Easy to second guess because it didn't work out. In hindsight, it's easy to second guess when it doesn't work out. But the Rams went right down the field and scored on their opening drive. Actually, the Bears should have scored a touchdown on theirs. Roma Dunze or DJ Moore, one of the two should have had a touchdown. And then Kalo threw a pick on 4th down on the next play. Rams went right down the field and scored to go up 7-0. The Bears ended up tying it 7-7. Then the Bears defense walked in. They did not allow the Rams to do much. And Chicago had a 10-7 lead late in the second quarter. Rams tied it going into half 10-10. So really good game. Then the Rams ended up getting a touchdown in the fourth quarter. The third quarter, both defenses played very well. And then the Bears went for it on 4th down. They went for it on 4th down. I forget exactly when in the second half. They went for it on 4th down, I believe, and I think they got stuffed or the play didn't work out, at least if I'm remembering right. I think they were in field goal range then too, and I think it was like 4th and 1 at that time, so I sort of understand it. But fast forward to late in the game, the Bears were going to tie the game. 4th down pass, batted down at the goal line. Then kind of a questionable play call from McVay. The Bears only had one timeout. I believe there was 2:07 left on the clock. So if you pass it, even if it's an incomplete pass, by punting it, it's going to eliminate the 2-minute warning. And McVay just ran it right up the middle, and the Bears just stopped it immediately. So kind of a questionable call from McVay there. And the Bears driving down the field, 4th down, season on the line. Caleb Williams has multiple Rams defenders right in his face, and he makes one of the most insane throws I've ever seen. Cole Kmet catches it in the end zone. Bears kick the extra point, tie it up, and then the Rams ended up getting the ball and just kneeled on it. There was only 13 seconds left, I believe. That throw from Caleb Williams is absolutely insane. I'm like, the Bears are going to friggin' steal this game, aren't they? Going to overtime, they have all the momentum. They're going to steal the game. And it would have been fitting. It's fitting the way they tied it with a miraculous borderline Hail Mary throw where it's like, how in the hell, like 1 in a million throw, and they've done it all season. They come from behind when they're dead in the water, making all these insane plays. If Caleb Williams had a ridiculous 4th down pass against Green Bay in the fourth quarter last week. So they did it again. And then in overtime, the Rams punted the ball. They pitch it out on 3rd and 1. They get stopped. Chicago gets the ball back. I'm like, they're going to freaking win the game and pull this off, aren't they? The Rams certainly did not play a great game, not nearly to their full potential, not to discredit Chicago. The Rams have just been shaky, and it feels like they haven't been playing to their full potential for 4 full quarters for a while now, honestly. So that's, even though they're winning, that's something people have started to notice and point out a bit. But anyway, Chicago gets the ball. They put together a decent drive. They're around midfield, and Caleb Williams looks to hit DJ Moore to put them in field goal range to ultimately win the game. And there's a miscommunication. DJ Moore kind of jogged on the route. A lot of people shitting on him for that. Apparently, from what I've seen, people say it wasn't like an effort thing. It was just kind of he was confused by the coverage, and he expected Caleb to go either not give him the ball or he didn't know. He didn't anticipate the ball being thrown there. But anyway, miscommunication. Rams get the pick. They end up working the ball in the field goal range. There was like two back-to-back plays. I thought they were going to get a touchdown to win the game, but they end up getting the field goal with Mevis, and they win the game in overtime, 20-17. So heartbreaking end to the Bears season. I thought they were going to pull it off after they tied it at the end of regulation, especially in the fashion they did. It just is ironic. Well, not ironic, just fitting is the word I was looking for, considering how their season's gone. So tough way for them to end the year, but they'll be a really good team next year, I believe. Defense certainly has to improve. Caleb's completion has to improve. Drops were an issue. Ben Johnson talked about that in his end of the season press conference. So they certainly need to improve in a decent amount of areas. But sorry, I'm getting a text. Yeah, they'll be a force next season. And again, the Rams, they got the win, but not the most convincing. They nearly blew the game multiple times. They're kind of playing with fire, but they're getting away with it. Almost lost to the Panthers last week. Are they going to be able to keep getting away with it? Are they going to play to their full potential against Seattle? And then if they advance in the Super Bowl, we're going to have to wait and see. But really good, entertaining game. Thought Chicago had it. Killer for them. Give the Rams credit here. So yeah, those are the 4 divisional games. They were all good. Well, they were all good except really for San Francisco, Seattle. That was just a bloodbath. It was over. You felt very quickly, I would say. Honestly, most of the game then, as I mentioned, when Seattle got a 24-6 lead at half, you probably knew it was over. Our game against the Texans wasn't really entertaining because it wasn't entertaining from a pure great football standpoint. It was sloppy, but I was entertained because I was so locked into it. Obviously, it's my team in a playoff game. I was very nervous during it, but we got the win. Rams-Bears game was good, as I mentioned. Buffalo-Denver, really entertaining game. Could have gone either way. Leaving it all on the field. That was a really hard-fought game. Yeah, a lot of good games in the divisional round. Only 3 more games left. 2 of them coming up Sunday. Conference championship games. Should be really good. Again, I'm going to come out with my score predictions for the conference championship games either tomorrow or Saturday. Probably tomorrow, maybe. And hopefully Dylan and I can figure out time to bang out the podcast between then. But as far as this video, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Thank you for tuning in. Take it easy. And as always, especially as my beloved Patriots are 1 win short of a Super Bowl, go Pats.